In a demonstration of escalating geopolitical maneuvers within the Asia-Pacific region, strategic bombers from the Russian Federation integrated with aircraft from the People's Republic of China to execute a coordinated aerial surveillance operation in proximity to Japanese territory, exacerbating the already strained diplomatic relations between Tokyo and Beijing. This occurrence unfolded on December 9th of the current year, involving a pair of Russian Tu-95 long-range bombers, which are capable of carrying nuclear payloads, departing from the Sea of Japan and proceeding southward toward the East China Sea. There, they converged with two Chinese H-6 bombers to conduct an extensive joint flight over the western Pacific Ocean, specifically traversing the airspace adjacent to the island of Shikoku. Accompanying this formation were 4 Chinese J-16 multi-role fighter jets, which facilitated a reciprocal trajectory between the principal island of Okinawa and the nearby Miyako Island, navigating through the Miyako Strait, an expanse recognized as international waters. Concurrently, Japanese authorities observed additional Russian aviation assets in the Sea of Japan, encompassing 1 A-50 airborne early warning and control aircraft alongside 2 Su-30 fighter jets, thereby amplifying the scope of the operation. The Japanese Defense Ministry promptly mobilized fighter aircraft to intercept and oversee the intruding formations, implementing stringent air defense identification protocols to safeguard national sovereignty. Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi publicly articulated his apprehensions via a statement on a prominent social media platform, characterizing the collaborative endeavor as an overt manifestation of military prowess directed squarely at Japan, which he deemed a profound threat to the archipelago's security architecture. He emphasized that such recurrent bomber sorties by the two nations signify a deliberate augmentation and intensification of activities encircling Japan, prompting heightened vigilance among defense officials. This episode did not remain isolated to Japanese airspace concerns. The Republic of Korea's armed forces also reported the ingress of 7 Russian and 2 Chinese aircraft into their designated air defense identification zone, necessitating the deployment of interceptor jets to monitor the situation. The duration of the joint patrol, as disclosed by Russian state media referencing their Ministry of Defense, extended approximately 8 hours, underscoring the endurance and strategic intent behind the mission. In retaliation to this provocative display, Japan collaborated with the United States to orchestrate a reciprocal exhibition of aerial might over the Sea of Japan, merely a day subsequent, on December 11th. This involved 2 American B-52 strategic bombers integrating with 3 Japanese F-35 stealth fighters and an equivalent number of F-15 air superiority jets, executing maneuvers designed to reaffirm the unyielding alliance between the two nations and to deter any unilateral alterations to the prevailing regional equilibrium through coercive measures. Japan's Chief of Staff for the Joint Staff, General Hiroki Uchikura, reiterated that the preceding Chinese-Russian activities constituted a severe security apprehension, framing them explicitly as a targeted demonstration against Japanese interests. American officials clarified that while the B-52 deployments had been prearranged, they aligned fortuitously with the exigencies of the moment following analogous operations involving B-1B bombers in the prior month. The broader context reveals a pattern of intensifying military cooperation between Beijing and Moscow, which has included joint anti-missile exercises on Russian soil and live-fire naval drills in the South China Sea in recent years. This particular patrol marks the 10th iteration of such strategic air collaborations over the East China Sea and Western Pacific, as affirmed by China's defense ministry, which portrayed it as routine and integral to their annual bilateral cooperation framework aimed at preserving regional tranquility and equilibrium. Nevertheless, Beijing rebuffed Tokyo's allegations regarding an antecedent incident over the weekend, wherein Chinese carrier-based fighters purportedly engaged radar locks on Japanese military aircraft, an action interpreted as potentially hostile, compelling evasive actions, asserting instead that Japanese jets had imperiled their operational safety. The United States Department of State condemned these Chinese maneuvers as counterproductive to fostering peace and stability in the vicinity, while pledging unwavering solidarity with Japan. Compounding these frictions are recent declarations from Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takachi, who in early November intimated that Japan's self-defense forces might intervene should China pursue aggressive actions toward Taiwan, a self-governing entity that Beijing regards as an inseparable component of its territory. This stance has further inflamed tensions, coinciding with reports from Taiwan of elevated Chinese military incursions, including 27 aircraft, among them nuclear-capable H-6K bombers, engaging in joint patrols with naval vessels, encircling the island over consecutive days. On the ensuing day, Chinese J-16 fighters and supplementary H-6 bombers undertook protracted exercises in the Western Pacific after transiting southward of Taiwan. Analysts perceive these developments as emblematic of a shifting power dynamic in the Indo-Pacific, where alliances are being fortified and deterrence postures amplified amid apprehensions over territorial disputes, particularly in the East China Sea and surrounding the Senkaku Islands, which Japan administers but China claims as the Diaoyu Island. The integration of Russian assets into Chinese-led patrols not only bolsters Moscow's projection of influence in the region, but also complicates the strategic calculus for Tokyo and its allies, potentially heralding a new era of multifaceted confrontations that demand vigilant diplomatic and military preparedness to avert escalation into broader conflict.